What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows yet again, and just talk about what it's going to do to Ubisoft, that Judgment type day situation that's finally almost here. I mean, I don't know if there's been a game in recent memory, at least to me, because my own personal opinion doesn't have to be yours, when it's leading into release, okay, that I am almost equally as interested in how it does, like, for them and what it does for the future and just all of that stuff. And then also the game itself. Like, normally, I think I'm honestly pretty good with this, and I think I back what I say up with actual action. You know, I look at the game first and foremost, I would say 99 out of 100 times, right? There's always conversations to be had on a lot of these different games. And the general thing I'll say is, well, let me play it. Like, I'm going to be honest when I play any game, and, you know, let's judge the game based off the game. And I really, you know, even a game like, say, Astrobot, right? Obviously, its success would matter, I think, to PlayStation long term in terms of the family friendly games. And maybe that's how we get Sly Cooper back. Like, that was a big aspect of it to me, right? But it's still the game. It's still okay. I'm freaking excited for Astrobot. I really want to play it, and then we can talk immediately after about what this can do for PlayStation down the line. When it comes to Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I've mentioned this before on the channel, with just kind of my mentality and my history with like the newer Assassin's Creed games, it's definitely more 50-50 because I'm just not as invested. I'm not as invested in Assassin's Creed Shadows as I have been for the Astrobot or for a lot of these other games that then kind of have the narratives, you know, behind it. Even say kind of on the reverse side, like a Dragon Age the Veilguard, right? And what that could do for the future of BioWare, you know, that not exactly the same thing, but in terms of, okay, you know, depending on how that game does that hurt? Does that help? Does that change BioWare in any way? It is somewhat similar to, say, Assassin's Creed, and I don't think that one worked out, right? I think Dragon Age probably hurts the future of BioWare, but still, even with that game, I've been a Dragon Age fan for a very long time. I still was focusing on the game first, right? And then kind of secondary was, okay, well, what can this do for BioWare, you know, afterwards? For Assassin's Creed, you know, I've said it before. I've said it in videos just over the last couple weeks. Like, my plan is to get it. My plan is to play it, you know, day one. My wife has actually played these newer, like the new age Assassin's Creed games for far more hours than I have. It's highly likely she ends up taking the game from me and ends up tripling my playtime, which is something I honestly expect at this point. But that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I want it to be good. I don't want to I don't want to play a bad game, okay? Can we just say that? I don't really want to play any game and just say, you know, I absolutely hate this, unless it's really for content purposes, but that's even kind of secondary as well. I play games because I want to like the game. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to play a game that I'm going to really hate. So that's my thoughts on it, right? That's what I'm hoping for, is that I don't do that. I have a good time. But literally, I would say playing for equal, you know, share in my mind is, okay, this is it. Like, this really, we talk about Ubisoft, and Ubisoft has just had such an interesting journey. And I think interesting is probably the right word. It's pretty safe. It's not a negative or positive. They've had a journey of their lifetime, you know, in the last couple years. And this really feels like the game that is going to define their future. And I will say, okay, it's not really fair to this game in particular. I mean, I know there's been, you know, a lot of different conversations around Shadows, but I don't think any one game really deserves the weight of an entire company on its back. It's really all of the decisions and all of just the history that's led up to this point that then falls on any given game, right? It just so happens. And I mean, yes, the status, right, of Assassin's Creed, that helps. Where it's like, okay, it's boom or bust, right? Like, this is freaking it. If this game, now I will say this, right? Depending on what happens, I mean, is there that many options available? If the game does super well, does that actually do anything? Well, I feel like the end of Ubisoft as we know it is still here. I think they sell. I think they change. I think, you know, Ubisoft as a name, I think, will forever be around. But in terms of what we know of them right now, I don't think it's going to last forever. I really think in the next few years, if not even maybe this year, it all changed. I mean, we know, like, they're looking to sell and all sorts of other stuff. If Assassin's Creed Shadows sells 15 million, and if it's a 85 on Metacritic and everybody loves it. Does that really change anything? Well, number one, that's asking for a lot. Okay, I mean, just factually, like that would literally be a grand slam. And then also, does that actually affect their future? Because it's still so dependent on Assassin's Creed, and it's one game. It's one game when you've had all of these other failures, and can one game... It's almost like, I think Final Fantasy 16 for Square Enix had this problem, where it felt like, even in their financial reports, it felt like the weight of the whole company was on just that game, not just to make its money back, but to fix the other 5 mistakes Square Enix made in the year before it, right? And it's like, it's not fair. It's not fair that you have to make your money back, and you also have to pay back the 5 game failures that your upper, management did. That's not up to that game, right? And it's the same kind of situation here, where it's like, okay, well, even if this game does well, what's next? And not only what's next, but like, will that do okay, right? Like, does Splinter Cell, when that comes out, does that sell? Does that bring back Splinter Cell? Prince of Persia, same thing. Any of these, Assassin's Creed, you're gonna have like 9 more, over the next 3, 4, 5 years. Are all of them going to be good? Are all of them going to sell good? Or are you gonna have a couple bombs in there? Because if you do, that's gonna probably be a problem, right? So I don't know. Again, I think the majority of casual people that are not, chronically online, which by the way, that's good on people. I don't think people should chronically be online. I think most people do actually just focus on the game. You see the game on the PlayStation Store, the Xbox Store, Steam. You see the game, you either buy it, you don't buy it. You don't really care about Ubisoft. You don't really care about really any of the other stuff that's happening. You're either going to pay the $70 or you're going to do the subscription service, or you're going to buy it, not buy it. That's it. You don't really care about Ubisoft 2-3 years from now. And I think that's the majority of people. And honestly, I think that's probably the way that it should be. But for me, it's a little bit different. And like I said, I mean, for a game like this, or for a situation like this, it feels different. It feels different because normally I put the game first, and then the secondary issues are literally, next afterwards. For this, it's almost 50-50, kind of just because of where I'm at with this game. I'm not looking for it to change the world. And that's, I've said that before. I mean, I think that gives this game kind of an advantage to me, or for me, because I'm not looking for it to move the world, on its back. I'm looking for a good time, and that's kind of it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.